there's a life I could have known, one beyond my wildest dreams. Maybe that road could have carried me to streets of gold. Things aren't always as they seem. Looking back on all the chances that I missed, some I held, some slipped away. One street over where my memories exist, I wondered what would change, I really couldn't say. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known that would have kept me from the one I had today. Times gone by, I've traded like blood into clay. I thought my memories would end. One street over's now 1,000 miles away. When I close my eyes, I'm back to where I've been. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I just forget the lessons that I couldn't learn. Because one street over there's a life I could have known, would have kept me from the one I had today.
Good morning, Robertson County. How you doing? This is 1100 WSGI. I'm U-Turn Laverne, and this is a one street over. We're going to see what's happening one street over from where you living. And I'll just kind of give you a heads up. I was a little bit later than I wanted to get in here today because I had to scrape my windshield. And we've been a little bit spoiled over the last few days. We've had milder temperatures as we've headed out the door. And you may not experience that because I live down in the holla. And so it's always a few degrees cooler where I live versus, if you live up on the hill. So you may not have, to scrape those windshields this morning, but I had to. So give yourself an extra minute as you're heading out the door and, scrape off that ice. Here we go. And as we're, edging into Christmas and all the things, there's so much going on. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Danavyn Hylton in the house. He is now. We're a little bit backward on our schedule because we have a lot of regular guests, and typically the Tuesday after the school board meeting, Dr. Causey comes in. Well, he had to be somewhere out of town today. I don't know really what's going on. He had a conflict. Okay. And so he will be in tomorrow. And I said, Danavyn, do you mind switching? And he was like, absolutely, no problem. So we've got Danavyn Hylton today. We'll have Dr. Chris Causey in tomorrow. We'll check in with sports with Jamie Nixon on Thursday. Of course, United Way will pop in. We've got Rachel Culver on Friday. And then we get into Christmas week and just all the things. And I'll just kind of give you a heads up. I'm taking some time off during Christmas. Miss Sweetly Marie is going to cover about 6 days of it, I think, that we have settled on. Just simply because I need a little bit of Shabbat. We talked a little bit about Shabbat and Sabbath, and so I'm gonna take a little Shabbat and take a little Sabbath myself and just kind of re-gear because man, there's so much going on. And how are you doing? Or I could just keep talking and forget that I have a guest. You know me, I can run my mouth. Hi, brother.
Good morning, U-Turn. And one, I'm a fan of your show, so I love listening to you. So it's all good.
you're so sweet. Don't encourage me. Don't encourage me. That's the thing. I was thinking about you coming in, and I was like, okay, he's going to get me talking, and I got to remember to let Donovan talk. So how it is. But anyway, I'm just saying. But I do love you, and we have so much fun talking. And what we were talking about as he entered. I'm trying really hard not to be anxious about some of the stuff we're doing at Greenboro High School today, but I am, and mainly because I want it to be as meaningful for the students as it was for me the first time I witnessed a remembrance ceremony at Recovery Court. You've witnessed those.
Yes.
Powerful, aren't they?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And Althea Sickle, bless her sweetheart, she is coming to unpack this for us. And she is the one who brought the Recovery Court. We have Recovery Court in Robertson County. And it is a chance for people who are caught up in addiction to start over. And it's breathtaking and it's beautiful. But at every recovery court that first time I went, probably the thing that just convinced me I have to be a part of this is the remembrance ceremony at the end of it. It took my breath away. And what this is while we are celebrating those who have overcome the addiction and they're starting life anew, there are always those who did not beat the addiction and that we lost them. And so they will do a remembrance video to remember them, and they'll set the little tea lights out. And it I just wept the first time I saw it, because it's what I was telling, everybody at the end of it. I said, I think the thing that just struck me is I recognize the people in it, and not literally, but I saw grandmothers and grandfathers and moms and dads and sons and daughters and brothers and sisters and friends and uncles and aunts. You saw people that could be people sitting right next to you. And it knows no respecter of persons. Addiction does not. You just never know how it's going to affect you. And I know for certain that we have students that are caught up in it, whether it be them or it be family members. And I know there are students that have those that they've lost. And so as we're putting together a document, what got this whole thing started is we're putting together a documentary. One of my classes, one of my audio video classes, the evolution of drugs, and it's looking at how we got to the drug abuse that we have today. And so we've interviewed Judge Perry, we've interviewed Mayor Vogel, we've interviewed Ron Baptiste. Wow. We have an interview with one of our principals whose brother is actually serving time right now because of drug addiction. And so we have those interviews, and I said, wouldn't it be amazing if we did our own remembrance ceremony? Because I know there's people within the walls of this school that have, I've got friends that I have a sweet girl that's going to be in the video we did today. Grew up with my children, went to Good Pasture with them, grew up at church together. And one of my very best friends in radio, his son. And then I have another, and so as I posed the question to the school, I said, I need images of those that have been lost to addiction. And had a student, his mom, had another teacher who had a brother and a sister, a teacher who had a sister, a teacher who had a brother, a teacher who had an uncle. And I mean, these pictures as they come in, I want us really to do this every year, because until it's not needed, until we get a hold of this addiction to where we say, there's help. And so there's a great song, Leaving the Light On, and it's just, it's so good. And I don't know if we'll be able to share the video with you because there's copyrights on it, but we can share it in the assembly. And so I'm going to reach out to the record company and say, hey, can we share this, with the permission of the families, of course, of the people that are in it. But nonetheless, that's what's on my heart this morning, as I'm anticipating that happening at 10. So I'd say pray that the hearts that need to be touched are touched. I'm thinking about several students that I know they're in it. They're in it, and because you can just tell when you're around them, and you just pray for them, and you're like, man, what can we do to get your attention and say, don't let this get a hold of you, or let's help us get it off of you, because it's already gotten hold of them, and you can see it. And anyway, but that's what's on my mind this morning. So I'm a little distracted. But God's got it, and it's going to be what God wants it to be. And so there you go.
Well, I appreciate you. One, just excited for you to be a part of the school system, and just to bring your love, your experience, and what you work on in the community to the school, and pushing those things, and helping the not only administration but also the students know that there is love and support there. And just having my small experience of Recovery Court, and just looking at the families really touched, and the love coming together. Respectfully, until you brought it up, I never thought about those that went through that process and didn't make it through, respectfully. And that's a whole nother. So definitely my hearts and prayers go out to everyone. And I'm just so glad to see you pushing that initiative at the school, and I'm not surprised because you are definitely a community leader. And whatever I can do to help in that process, you please let me know.
Thank you, brother. And again, this is all God. I mean, it's just it was so we decided. I called Judge Perry and I said, can I bring the students to witness a recovery court since we're putting together this documentary? And he said yes. And so the principal said yes, Dr. Osborne, and we got the approval. And so we went to this recovery court graduation. But we had, there's always you have to get back for the buses and all this. And so the bus to transport us back, we stayed absolutely as long as we could. Yeah. And we didn't get to stay for the remembrance. We had to leave in the middle of the remembrance ceremony. And it just killed me because I was like, that's what I wanted them to see, And I just didn't have any choice. I had to take the students out. And I talked to Althea later and I said, what if we did this at school? And I don't know, the awkwardness of that timing is what led to the idea to present it at school. And I could see this being something that we do in any of the schools. I mean, I'll help them put the video together. I mean, I'll help, and I know Althea be like, you want me to come and talk to students? You got it. She's there. And she's going, oh, okay. And she'll do it. But she even told me, whenever I told her, I said what I wanted her to do, she's like, oh, okay. She's going to be awesome. But nonetheless, I just have a feeling that this is something that is so, because it's so needed, unfortunately it's so needed. We need it in all the high schools. Every single one of the high schools needs to do what we're doing this morning at Greenbrier. And I could see us doing it again next year and again until we don't need to anymore. And so I don't know. But, go ahead.
Do you mind me asking, how have the students been affected from just being introduced to this process? Conversations
right now, because while we presented it several times, I've asked the teachers, the different teachers, I said, hey, talk to your homerooms about this, what we call cat time. And I don't think a lot did. Because a lot of the students I'll talk to, and I say, well, have you heard about this? Well, no. And so, and I've had several students, probably 7 or 8 come to me and say, oh, I have this person. And I was like, well, get me an image. And then they didn't. And I don't think they get it yet. And I think after they see it this morning, they're going to get it. Yeah. And so I think if we do it again next year, that we'll have a deluge of images, because it's unfortunate. There's not, as you start having these conversations, I don't have a conversation with somebody that doesn't know somebody. Like, okay, do images come to your mind of people that have been lost to addiction?
Yes.
I don't think there's any of us that don't have people. I had one that's like one of my best friends. And I said, well, do you want to get an image of him? Well, I'd have to talk to his family, and then they never did. And I think it's a hard conversation to have. And then one young man said, well, I had my cousin. I said, well, ask your mom if you can present that. And then they never did. And then another young girl, well, my grandfather. I said, well, do you want to use his image? Well, and then they never did. But after they see it this morning, I think they may be wanting to say, I want to honor their life. I want to honor their life. And if their loss can inspire someone else to get the help they need and to really not just succumb to, and I can't even imagine. I don't understand addiction. I don't have addiction. The only thing I'm addicted to is jelly beans. And I say that in chagrin, but I'm not kidding. My addiction is sugar and food and things like that. That's what I struggle with. The other things I don't. And I had, and I may have shared this with you before, but I think this is probably one of the best illustrations of addiction I've ever heard, and it's from Bobby Davis, Life Church in Cookeville. If you have not discovered that man, I say young man because he's younger than me, but Bobby is just real, and he's a preacher that I've discovered because my children were going to church with him out in Cookeville, and he nearly died of addiction many times. He got sober in his 20s, became a campus minister, and just developed this huge like a college ministry that just and then ended up leading the church at Life Church. And just the way his messages are being shared, and just because he's just so real. But he talks about, his time in addiction and how his mom wanted to help him, and she didn't know how to help him. And she would say to him, Bobby, I don't know what to do for you. I don't understand it. And he says, Mom, he says, the best way to describe addiction is, he said, and he's in his 50s, so, he's back in the day whenever, and grew up around here when you didn't really have air conditioning in the hot summer and all that, and you'd get poison ivy, and it's just miserable, miserable. And he goes, just that miserable, when you get that poison ivy, and you'd put that pink stuff all over me, and I'd just be laying there in the heat in the bed trying to sleep, and I just wanted to itch, and I just wanted to scratch so bad. But you and Dad had told me, don't itch it or you'll make it worse. Don't scratch it or you'll make it worse. And finally, in the middle of the night, I just reach out and I just go, and I just start scratching it. And it made it worse. But for a minute, it gave me comfort. He goes, that's addiction. And I'm like,
it's powerful.
Isn't that an amazing, to me, and not understanding addiction, I get that.
Yep.
And so these people that are just so caught up in it, for a minute, it's that, and it just is, I can't even imagine. Ron Baptiste, he says it, he says, this is an illness that affects some people. Some people are just more prone to it, and some families are. And that, I've got families that I'm associated with through Celebrate Recovery. There's a lot of people that don't have any problems with alcohol. That is not at all. But there's some families that it seems to be generational, and it seems to be a family thing. And I've got some friends of mine who they've gone through alcoholism, and they beg their children, don't even try it. You may not have an addiction issue, but because you have it in your family history, my advice is don't even try it. Don't even try it. And I've got a dear sweet person in my life that her children, she won't hardly let them have sugar because she's had such a hard time with food and things like that, and the restrictions she has on her children. I'm kind of curious how it's going to work out when they become 18. It'll be like jelly beans. I don't know, but I get that, and I get families saying just don't, because that's why you have a lot of teetotalers out there, is because they're afraid to ever put their toe in the water, because what if I like it too much?
Yep.
What if I like it too much? So anyway, all right, guys, that's what's on my mind, and it's nearly 20 after. Hi, Donovan.
I
told you I was gonna do this.
This is great news.
Anyway.
I learned so much from you, to include the Wikipedia. Some things people already automatically know, but I'll never forget, as I'm listening to you and talking about Recovery Court, and I'm so grateful because I posted it, but you've made it very clear in a very professional, respectful way that, hey, Donovan, it's probably best to go ahead and just get that cleared, because I do a lot of video recording, and
as far as the privacy,
and I didn't realize at the time, because I wanted to promote something that was positive, but at the same time, those Recovery Court, that experience is so sensitive, and it affects really, a lot of people's lives. I'm so, just it brought me to that, but then it also just reinstilled how important, Recovery Court is and what's being done in Robertson County. I'm just so glad to hear that you're pushing that, and getting it in front of the schools. And so again, U-Turn, whatever you need from me, I'll do all I can to assist.
Thank you, brother.
Yes.
And I'll say we'll have another Recovery Court graduation coming up in the spring. That's going to be one of the hardest things, is now that I'm teaching, is trying to come up with a reason for me to take a field trip so I can take the students or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but it may be a reoccurring field trip, simply because maybe we can go and do take pictures and stuff. Because that's one thing we have been. We'll take pictures of the participants, and of course we don't share them. We just give them to Megan and Althea. But so I don't know. Maybe we'll work it out, because they've actually asked me to be on the board with Recovery Court, and I have honored to accept. I missed their first meeting though that they had after they asked me. It was one of those things. I had it on my calendar, and then all of a sudden I was like, that meeting was last week, and I was like, oh. But anyway,
Yikes.
I'll do better. So what did you bring to the table today, brother? What have you got on? What have you got on your mind?
Just wanted to bring a few activities that have come up and happened in Robertson County since we last connected. And just, again, when I don't have a guest with me, I just like to talk about, what's happening in the community. And I guess I'll start, speaking of Recovery Court, I'll start with my friend, Judge Joe Perry. About 3 weeks ago, Judge Joe Perry, Miss Pamela Bell, Greg Bell, who were guests here on the show at one point, myself, Dominic as well, Pastor Robert Gardner went down to Clarksville, Tennessee for an expungement clinic that Clarksville was hosting in an effort to bring an expungement clinic to Robertson County.
Right.
And so that was a great experience. But Judge Bateman, I believe, is the judge in Clarksville that opened the doors to allow us to see the process. And from my understanding, Judge Joe Perry is looking to make sure, I'm sure he's explained this before, but just making sure that that expungement clinic opportunity is open for Robertson County residents to get things off their records that can be taken off, for employment, housing, and things of that nature. So that happened 3 weeks ago. And that was a really great experience. I wanted to shout that out for Robertson County.
Okay, so you had gone last year. So this is your second visit.
Second visit, yes.
Okay, because that was one of the big things that, Judge Perry was saying that was hoping for re-election because he's like, I really want to see this happen. And, that's one of the things that I don't want to say was his platform, and I don't think he even said a whole lot about it publicly, but he's like, man, I really want this to happen, and I'm hoping I get another chance to serve so I can continue to push this forward. So did he give you any indication of how soon this is going to be coming to Robertson County?
No indication, because I don't want to give you the wrong answer.
I'll get him in here. Okay. I'll get him in here, and we'll talk about that since y'all just went. Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
And I do want to get your perspective, because there's another point I'm going to bring up later on the show about another activity. But I use the word friends a lot. And there's a reason I'm bringing that up, because I got some pushback on that word a couple weeks ago on a situation that we're going to talk about shortly as far as another activity that happened. But when I say friends, that's a professional term that I use at the minimum of people that I work with, have a working relationship with. But I don't want to say partner, because that could be legally binding or something where we're actually working together. But a friend to me is someone that we just have a working relationship. We don't have to be powwow and hang out on the weekend or anything. And so I brought that up because when I mentioned the word friend and I put someone's name behind it, someone took, and we're talking about a particular project, someone took that as if, when I was bringing awareness of the project, that I was in cahoots or working with this individual. And so I had to explain, maybe it was the wrong choice of words, but that's, again, this is when you're doing community relations, you're talking about sensitive situations sometimes. You get a chance to hear a lot of different perspectives.
I don't know about you though. I got friends in all kinds of places.
Okay,
and I mean, I've got people who are homeless that I consider friends who I miss dearly because I don't get to see them anymore. There's this woman named Shirley, and I don't know if you remember though. Hey, Laverne, where's Shirley? Kind of the Laverne and Shirley show from the 70s. Anyway, so anytime I meet somebody named Shirley, there's like this camaraderie. It's like, I'm Laverne, I'm Shirley. So there's this lady that frequents the Benevolent Center at Madison, Shirley, and we're just like, we're buds, and yeah, she's my friend. Yep. I got friends all over the place. Governor Lee's my friend. I'm hung out with him on the campaign trail. We cover the spectrum. That's it.
So I really want to push back, and we talked about it at one point, emotional intelligence, and but again, these are some sensitive things that are happening in Robertson County, and I want to make sure I'm bringing awareness. And a lot of times, people are just trying to figure out, Dom, is this something that you're pushing, or is this what's really going on?
Yeah.
And I just feel I would be doing a disservice if I don't bring it up. Especially if so that was just when I went. Let me bring that up when you turn the show.
Yeah. The term friend, but I mean that's honestly and truthfully. Whoever, and I don't know who challenged you on this. Oh, so that's your friend? Is that kind of the thing you got?
That's exactly what I got.
Okay. Well, okay. Sometimes, I can remember Steve Flatt. This is back up at Madison Church of Christ. He's the guy he was in the pulpit, and that's the reason why we ended up going there, is we just loved him. And he baptized me and my husband both. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole. But anyway, so... he said one time, it talks about in Scripture, if you're doing something that offends your brother, then you need to stop doing it, basically. And it's talking about eating meat that was sacrificed to idols, and there's so much context there. But people will be, well, if it offends your brother, you better cut it out. And I remember Steve saying one time, sometimes if your brother's offended, it's your brother's problem, not yours. And so if you got somebody going, is that your friend? Just go, let Jesus handle them.
I will.
And just be you and be
Yes.
friends to everyone. Because we're told to love our enemies.
I appreciate that.
Oh, you know, I mean, The Chosen, they've just released season 3, the first episode now. So I was listening to the first episode of season 3, and it starts out with Jesus presenting the Sermon on the Mount.
Mm-hmm.
And the reaction of those who were there listening to his sermon. Can you imagine being there listening to that? And they were like, love your enemy? What? You know, it's like,
Where's this
because the
going?
characters, the characters afterwards, they were saying, "That's what? What are you talking about? Who loves their enemies?" And so, I mean, but yeah, everybody. I mean, we love everybody.
That's to me, is what boils down to love.
Yeah.
And so that does eclipse a lot of things. And so there's certain perspectives that I happen to miss because that's not where my eyes are. My eyes are set on the love, you know.
Yeah.
And so I really appreciate that. And
You tell
sharing
him
that.
just. Yeah. Jesus
I,
loves you. I'll see you later.
That's how I did the conversation too. So that
You're
worked
my
out.
friend too.
Exactly. You're my friend too. You know.
It's like, oh my goodness, bless your heart. But talking with Danavyn Hylton, and tell people what you do and how they can get in touch with you.
Yes, so I'm an entrepreneur, CEO of Hylton Elite Marketing Agency alongside my wife, Malika Hylton. It's a sales and marketing firm based in Nashville. We're operating and moving toward Robertson County. But we pretty much help public and private sector brands increase their customer base or their community presence in urban areas of Tennessee at this point. We work with a lot of employers and career training organizations that need to introduce their available jobs or training programs, real estate development companies that are having a project in a particular community, but they need to connect with community residents to have a conversation with them. And as of late, local businesses that make at least, I say, $12 million or more in sales that want to drive more traffic to their building or to their website.
Okay.
As well.
Very good. And how can they get in contact with you?
Yes, website the numerical number 1 connect.com, www.e1connect.com, or you can just give us a call at 615-953-4969, 615-953-4969.
And I just love that you guys are getting it done. Got these 3 beautiful boys, beautiful bride, and I mean, y'all are just, you're everywhere. And I just see you all over the place. And so is business good?
Business is good.
Awesome.
Yes.
I'm so
Yes.
thrilled. I'm so thrilled
Thank
for you. That's
Thank you.
wonderful.
And it's a teeter-totter for me simply because my business is primarily community engagement, community relations for really corporate brands that don't know how to connect with community residents or groups or don't have time. And so a lot of times when you are representing and working with brands and helping them build a working relationship and community residents aren't used to that, there are a lot of times they're looking for what's the motive, what's the agenda, what's the negative, where my role and what we do as a brand is making sure that the residents are approached and presented as if they were a board or some high executive to give them that respect and professionalism. So it's changing a lot of the culture, but some people still don't really. It's a new concept that started off with us raising funds for nonprofits back in North Nashville and has grown into this.
I love it. Well, that was my next question: is how did you get started? So it started as you were raising funds for nonprofits.
I was working as a janitor, and on the side, I was raising funds, had a skill set, and I had corporations when I went in and talked to them and say, "So do you represent this nonprofit?" Or I said, "No, I'm just here. I just see what they're doing in the communities I'm in, and they need help. So I just wanted to do my part." And they said, "Well, we need more of that," and that's how it actually started. You know.
I love that. I love that. That is so cool. What a cool story. Danavyn Hylton, and we'll give you his information again. And Malika's on there. So, hey, sister, why don't you put your info up in the comments so we can share that with everybody. And let's go ahead and pause and take a break. But he joins us once a month just to let us know what's going on in his world. But we want to pause and talk about Cumberland Connect. Cumberland Connect. Oh my goodness. I am so excited because, number one, we're coming into a season. This is probably, I stay super busy. In the winter, I kind of take a breath and, kind of, I don't know, refuel, talk about Shabbat and just kind of settling. And something that I enjoy doing during the winter is maybe I'll find a show that everybody's talking about and I'll binge on it a little bit. Chosen, I binge on it. I'll watch that thing over and over and over and over. I just love The Chosen. It is fabulous. Well, you need to have good internet to be able to stream these shows. I've recently discovered a historical fiction piece called Poldark. Oh my goodness, it's so good. But I love all that kind of stuff. And for me to be able to sit down and watch that and not have it just kind of do the little, wheel of death on me where it's buffering, I need good internet. Well, I don't have it. I have a download speed of like 3.5 right now, and when that's with AT&T, and that is with I forget exactly what type of system I've got because honestly, it's just the bare minimum. But what's happening is because I'm a Cumberland Electric customer, I am going to have access to Cumberland Connect, and I mean the wires already on my utility pole. They know I am ready. As soon as they're ready to install it in my house, I cannot wait to cut the cord on AT&T. Wonderful people, but the service has been lousy, and I mean our system went out right before 4th of July. We were down for a week, and all we needed was it was just stupid. I mean, the runaround we got, the miscommunication, talking to people in several other countries, it was just a joke. That's not going to happen with Cumberland Connect. You're going to have 24/7, 365 days a year, local technical support that is available for you. Speeds up to 1,000 megabits per second. That's a gig for $80. I'm paying $65 right now for what I've got, and it is a joke, guys. I cannot wait. My friend Gwen Harder, who comes in here on Fridays, she is up to speed now. They're up on they're on Hoods Branch Road. Their speed was 1.5, and they're in the 500s now. So I mean, it is fabulous. There's no data caps. They're never going to throttle your speed. No residential contracts. State-of-the-art Wi-Fi 6 router included with internet service at no extra charge. Oh my goodness, guys. Go check it out. If you're a Cumberland Electric customer, Cumberland Connect is coming to you. CumberlandConnect.org is where you go and check it out. And if you go www.cumberlandconnect.org/workshops, you can go and hook up one of the workshops that hook in with one of the workshops that can kind of fill you in on what does this mean for you? Because, some folks are not real tech savvy and they have lots of questions. So get in touch with them today and thank them for being one of our sponsors now, a daily sponsor here on One Street Over. And always, please let them know U-Turn sent you. Danavyn Hylton in the house talking all things community related. And where do you want to drive the ship next, my friend?
Well, since we brought up our family, I'll go ahead and throw this out. I say this respectfully and so fortunate. And I did talk to my wife about it, so she's okay. But Malika experienced a renal aneurysm 3 weeks ago.
Oh my gosh. I did see this. Then how is she doing?
She's doing a lot better. She's home, walking, using the restroom, and eating food and everything. And as you said, as far as just our family dynamic, that's something that really brought us closer together through that experience.
I mean, and I apologize that I didn't ask you as soon as you walked in the door because I did see your post. It's been a couple of weeks ago, right?
Yes.
And I saw that, but I saw it to the point that she was okay.
Yes.
But she had gone through the process. My goodness.
Yes.
Bless her. And
yes.
right here at the holidays, but she's got her legs back under her where she can at least enjoy the holidays.
She's legs back under her, smiling, and we're getting out. She's just, she's amazing. She's amazing.
So thankful that you're going to be okay, sister.
Yes.
And a lot of prayers going up. And so is the prognosis fine going forward?
It is.
No issues?
At this point, no issues. We're definitely changing our habits a little bit, dieting and things of that nature. Do want to give a huge shout out to Northcrest Hospital. They did an outstanding job going through the process. It's all happened like toward the middle of the night, you know. And if I'm very, very fortunate that Malika and I are so close, and she was exercising. I thought she had pulled a muscle, So it could have been easily say, "Hey, take a Motrin and we'll deal with it in the morning." And just very fortunate that we are so close and are able to communicate to where we're saying, "Hey, let's call the ambulance." And very fortunate to have the ambulance doing what they're supposed to do, and then the doctors and the nurses, and just that whole process until the next day where they said, "Hey, you can go into the room and see your wife." And so I want to give a huge shout out to my boys, our boys. They were just very supportive, and they weren't running around, either them where they needed to be so we can take care of this business. And so one of my primary message is to make sure, and we all know this, but tomorrow and the next moment is not promised. Mm-mm. So you definitely want to make sure that you are pouring in all you can to those that you love, and being patient and learning and getting to know other individuals, because they're going through challenges as well. Mm-hmm. So life is short, and I just want to give a huge shout out to my family, and just thankful that God has brought Malika into my life, and she has, without words, helped to lead and help me push expectations of me to new heights to help us get to where we are today, and Lord willing, where we're going to be tomorrow.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're so thankful that you're okay, Malika, and just prayers for continued good health and healing, and for a fabulous Christmas.
Receive. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yes,
you're welcome. You. Are you guys going to get to? I know your family's all scattered. Y'all got big family stuff planned? Or
actually, my mom will be in town.
Oh, nice.
My mom will be in town. She'll be in tomorrow. Actually.
Oh, fun.
For a few days. So I was hoping she was going to join me, but she's coming in toward the evening tomorrow. So I would have loved to have her on the show. Very sharp woman.
Okay, so let's see if we can't make this happen. I'm gonna. Okay, so the next week, let me see if I've got anything open.
She leaves Monday. So throw that out there as well.
Fooey. Okay, so let me just work on it, because if nothing else, maybe let me just see what I've got going. Maybe we can work it out something. Maybe we can share a little time on Thursday. It wouldn't be a long visit, but maybe just a few minutes or something, to pop in and say hi.
That'd be awesome.
Because we'll have Jamie, and we'll have the United Way folks coming in, Brian and Tiffany. So I bet you right at the bottom of the hour, I try to explain to my students the top and the bottom of the hour.
I see.
And it's because it's
I'm listening.
It's the top of the hour is the hour, and the bottom of the hour is the half hour, and that's just a radio thing. Top and bottom of the hour.
Gotcha.
Anyway, I digress. I'm so sorry. So, but as we're transitioning between Jamie and whoever he brings in from sports, maybe you could come on in here, say 25 after, and then go to about 25 till, and we give you about 10 minutes there at the bottom of the hour. Still 5 minutes from each one of them. You want to do that?
Absolutely.
I'll just tell them. We're going to do that Thursday.
All right.
Bring Mom in. Okay. I got to meet Mom. Has she been in before? I feel like I've met your mom.
She has not. You may have met her, but I don't think she's been in before.
Okay, well, bring her in, and I'll steal 5 minutes from each side, and we'll do something 25 after to 25 till.
That'll work.
Awesome. That'll work. Okay. So Jamie and Brian and Tiffany, all y'all been put on notice. I'm going to steal a little time from you.
Yes.
So very good. Well, that'll be fun. Talking with Danavyn Hylton of
Hylton Elite
Marketing Agency.
Yes.
I have to write things down, or I don't stay on task. I do. Let's go ahead and pause, and let's do one of our other breaks right now. Let's talk about Corbin Creek. I love my friends over at Corbin Creek Greenhouse Gifts and Gardening Center. I was trying to put together my stocking stuffers and all this kind of thing. I'm in the middle of all the things that we're trying to finish up at Greenbrier High School. And honestly and truthfully, we've got a arts concert going on Thursday night. We've got the Robertson County Cup happening on Friday night, and I've got a couple of wrestlers that are in my class, and I would love to be at both of those events. I just can't, because I'm getting ready for Christmas Saturday at my house. I was talking with Mr. Martin that's going to put on this concert on Thursday night, and I told him, I said, I could, if I come, I'm not going to get anything done. I won't get my presents wrapped and all that. So I won't be able to be at those two events, because I say all that to say I'm still trying to come up with stocking stuffers. So I pull up Corbin Creek's website this morning. Perfect little stocking stuffer for adults. If you go and you Google great stocking stuffers for adults, things people need. They don't want just junk. They don't want, little trinkets and things that they don't really need, little things to sit on the shelf. They want things they need. And first thing that pops up is the CBD headache salve that Amy and Miss Jane make right there in the house. They make their headache salve. They make their salve, just their pain salve, the insect bite salve as well. Fabulous stuff that they make right there in the house, and great stocking stuffers. If you're wanting to share with somebody, hey, CBD might really help you. I took, a dose of CBD this morning because of my arthritis. I've got terrible arthritis, y'all. Both of my hips have already been replaced. I just turned 60. My knees are going to need it probably eventually, but something that helps me tremendously is the CBD because it takes the inflammation, and it helps with the inflammation. My doctor up at Southern Joint Replacement, Dr. Hodrick, said, you need to try this. And until then, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was snake oil. Well, it's not. And if you're curious about it and want to see if it'll help you, go and talk to Amy. She understands the science behind it. This is locally produced CBD, so you know exactly what you're getting. It's produced from the plants that her brother Bill grows. The oils are processed at a local drug manufacturing facility, a local lab. I couldn't get the word out. But they also have the CBD products, and they also have all kinds of great craft items and things that Miss Jane's made. Don't you want something that Miss Jane made? Those are great items for gifts as well. And they've always got their plants, their house plants that you can come out and bring some life into your home in the dreary winter months. They are open right now, Monday through Saturday from 10 to 4. Sunday they're open from 1 to 4. But Amy always says if you can't get there during the open hours, just call her. She'll meet you. 615-384-3185, 615-384-3185. They're at 4920 Highway 161 here in Springfield. Always let them know that we appreciate their sponsorship and let them know you turned sent you. Danavyn, where are we going next? You're driving the ship.
Yes, put your seatbelts on.
There we go.
I just want to give a huge shout out to our friend Miss Demita Utley, who was also on the show. She actually had, and she's on regularly, I believe, but she had a prayer night, Stop the Violence prayer night. I believe this was 2.5 weeks ago, 2 Saturdays ago, at the Birch Building in Springfield. And I just want to shout out her work because what she did was she donated essential household cleaning supplies to give those out on top of food. But if anyone
just to love on people,
just to love on people, you know, and so she's been on the show to explain just her work. I'm not sure if it's a non-profit organization legally standing. I just know she likes to get out there and do community work. So if you, I'll see if I can put the recap of the video in the comments for today's show to see, everybody can see what she did. And I did interview her for about a minute to just get her thoughts. But I definitely want to encourage anyone in Robertson County just to reach out to her as far as her ministry work. And she does a lot of her work through City of Faith Church through Pastor Robert Gardner. So a lot of those cleaning products were donated through the church. And so if you want to connect with her and do some ministry work or just see what a working relationship looks like, definitely want to shout her out. And please feel free to give her a call, Miss Demita Utley, at 629-200-9310, 629-200-9310, or you can email her at stoptheviolence615@gmail.com. stoptheviolence615@gmail.com. She's always walking Springfield mostly, but walking through neighborhoods, just praying, having prayer nights, and donating as much as she can. And she does it without any type of wanting any type of recognition. Just does her work. I just want to highlight what she's doing for Robertson County overall.
Why don't we just plan on bringing her back in?
Okay.
Maybe in January, she would be a really good guest to bring in and just say, okay, what have you got planned for 2023? Because the first time we brought her in, I made it once or twice, but she came in and she was talking about one of her events. And let's get her back in here and just say, what's 2023 look like? What can we anticipate as we kind of launch into the newness? And just say, okay, this is something that we need to continually be working towards. And so I think she'd be a real good one to double back and have her come back in if possible. Is that okay with you?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah, there's several of the folks you've brought in I'd love to visit with again.
Yes.
And just touch base.
Yes.
So get Pastor Gardner in here eventually.
We're working.
I can't get him in here. Him and his bride. I love her. She's a doll. They're so
great.
sweet.
Thank you so much.
They're awesome.
They're just so behind the scenes.
I know they are. And he's so busy. He retired from the electric company, and now he's busier than ever. Seems like,
Absolutely.
you know, he's awesome. They're just awesome. They're just a sweet couple.
Absolutely.
Just so precious.
And I do want to shout out, speaking of getting back on the show, just Dominic Hudson, as well as Denise Douglas as well. And just the work that we're continuing to do and grow. I do want to shout out Denise's son, Tyran, her oldest son, who has a nutrition business where he makes healthy drinks, packages them up and sells them. And so maybe we can get him on the show in 2023. And he's started a nutrition company, I believe, and branched out and started doing his own thing.
Cool.
And so, young man. So
Love
those folks,
entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and as we say, 2020, this is the last time we're going to be together in 20. Well, no, you're going to bring Mom in on Thursday.
That's right.
But I mean, we're very quickly closing the door on 2022.
Yes.
Crazy.
This
So
will be our end of our second year.
yeah, isn't that nuts? I'm
Yes.
telling you, time just flies by. Time just flies by.
really
It is
does.
insane. I'm telling you.
It really does.
Well, and have you met Mark Green yet?
I have. Representative?
Yeah.
Yes.
The
yes, I have.
new, because I had John Rose on officially for the last time yesterday with he is our representative in the People's House of in the Congress up in Washington, 6th District. But we have been redistricted into Dr. Green's, and that happens. I was asking John Rose yesterday, I said, so when does that officially happen? January 3rd is when they swear in the new Congress. Yep. So that's when we will have a changing of the guard, basically, that will be casting our votes for us in Washington. Dr. Green will take over for the work. John's, and I can't say enough about Congressman Rose and all that they've done, and Ray Render, his deputy director here. And just awesome people. We're going to miss them so much here in the community. But John even said, he says, "Oh, I'll come back on." So, if we have questions, so he'll be somebody we can continue to reach out to. But I'm excited about reaching out to Congressman Green's office as well and getting a relationship going with them. But you have met them.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So nice guy. I mean, I don't know him at all. I don't know that I've ever met him.
I'll if I can remember, I'll write this down. I have a few interviews that I've done with him.
Oh,
that I can put in the comments, kind of get a feel of him. And,
absolutely. That'd be wonderful.
Yeah. So, especially with him, not only see Robertson County, but he also has a nice chunk of the African American population in Nashville as well. So and that's where I moved from. Right. So ironically, the districts that he's in, I was once there and I am now, and so definitely talked about his perspective on redistricting, what that looks like. So I'll put some videos up.
That'd be great.
So we can check them out. And
I've got contact to him. I have been shared a phone number where I can call and get him on. So that's not the issue. It's just me. I haven't reached out to him yet, and I apologize profusely. It's been busy. Yes. So, well, what else do you want to talk about? We've got one more ad to do, but we can go ahead and just continue on. What else have you got on your list there? He comes in with a list. He's so prepared. So what else you got?
I'll just throw it out there because it's probably one of the more sensitive topics that I've experienced has been in Robertson County. And I do want to give a shout out to my friend, Dr. Chris Causey. And if anything, I'm honored to be able to help him out today and switch with him. Okay. Because I know he and the board and the administration do so much. And that's why, especially in civics, as best I can, I pray and be patient with folks, because once you're in that position, I mean, you're overseeing a lot of, or representing a lot of people, a lot of perspectives. Yeah. So I don't think I could do it, respectfully.
We love you, Dr. Causey.
So I just want to tip the hat off. But again, things cross my path. So there have been, and it's been happening for a few years, I think 10 years, so it's nothing major, but have been conversations about a charter school being proposed for Robertson County schools. I was not aware of charter schools. I had to look it up. And the reason why it caught my attention was because it's going in an area of Springfield where it's predominantly, I guess, more of an urban base. And that's not necessarily skin color, but also economically, as far as, income and things of that nature. It's higher density. Inner city, there you go. Inner city, more densely populated. And so, again, I just wanted to let residents know, hey, this may be, and it may not happen, but this is coming. This is a conversation that's happening in this area. You need to be aware. And I talked to a lot of the community stakeholders in the area. Some are for, some are definitely not for it. And I did a poll on LinkedIn as well as Facebook, focusing on the Robertson County area, and it almost was a even split between we need them, we don't need them. As well as I need more information about them. And so there was a information session on Tuesday, November 29th, so a few weeks ago, that happened at Life Purpose Church. And it was a really good conversation. If you don't mind, I will post the meeting.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Yeah. And so that way
comments.
people can see for themselves.
Exactly.
I don't know anything about it.
Exactly.
And it's something that I have not had time to look into, and I'm very cautiously go. I gotta know exactly the roots of it. I want to know everybody that's players in it. And I just have not had time to look into
Yes.
it. So because that matters.
It does.
It matters.
It does.
And you just have to, that's one thing. It's like, oh, that's a great idea. Well, make sure you unpack the entire package before you say that's a great idea.
Absolutely. 100%.
So, yeah.
And so when it was brought to my attention, like I said, hey, well, we got to bring this to the community. And that's why the information sessions are so important, so people can ask questions. This was the first one, so there should be some more coming down the pipe, but I'll keep everybody updated. It's up to the people, at the end of the day, and you have to unpack that information for someone to make an educated decision, but this is something that's been charter schools, a movement throughout the United States. I think there's over 5,200 charter schools across the country. Over 2 million students participate in charter schools, and there's so many different unique perspectives that you definitely have to unpack that information with a conversation multiple times to see if it's a good fit. I think that one of the bigger things that caught my attention is funding. And I have my opinions on that, and we could talk about that at another time. But unless you want to do it now, but I do feel
not sure where you're going, but I mean it's fine to go ahead and go where you want.
Yes, well, just to me, when it comes to funding, you have to make sure that the schools that are already in operation, really aren't affected. Because I believe there's some money being moved around, and the people, again, do your research. Go to Explore Charter Schools Robertson County TN. I'll put that in the comments as well, and that's pretty much information about charter schools, possibly in Robertson County. But the funding for schools for the state of Tennessee actually has changed. So there was a funding based upon, as of last year, funding based upon the school being in a particular area, and that's where the funding went. But now the funding has been released to where it's following the students. So it's changed the dynamics of Tennessee's education, primary education. These are all things that have been new to me since doing research on charter schools and what they're about. And so I don't want anyone to be caught off guard with that, and then all of a sudden it's too late for us to have a conversation. So I'm throwing it out early. Because respectfully, if it's brought to my attention, I think it's important for us to look at and do research on. So, and I'm sure that Dr. Chris Causey, definitely, I'm sure he'll have a conversation about that too. But I do want to shout out Dr. Chris Causey, because I've been able to connect with him and have a great conversation about this process. And he's been very helpful, very encouraging. And I just think he's a very fair individual from my perspective. And he's very professional, so I just appreciate what he's doing. And a conversation like this is just something more on his plate. And I just really pray for the whole administration. And again, if you're running for office, you're going to be in a position where sometimes you're going to be in sensitive, positions. But at the same time, how do you project yourself? Are you being professional? Are you being respectful to the people and having an educated conversation? And from what I can see, from my experience, the school board's done a great job of doing that, and Dr. Causey, so I want to give him a shout out. But that's something that has been coming down the pike as far as my intention as far as the conversation.
Okay. Well, and I will do my very best over the holiday, over the break, to look into it and to get a little better read on it, because I know nothing about it. And as a teacher, I have to be even more cautious of what comes out of my mouth, because I don't want to misspeak, because it is when you're not in the game, it's very easy to say, well, this is what I think. Well, what you think and what you know are completely different things. And so once you get into the trenches and you understand things, you just understand them differently.
Absolutely.
And so I hear so many things said about the teaching profession that I'm like, well, that's not true. And I just I have yet to meet a teacher that is not caring, compassionate, devoted, and just lays it all on the table. Last night I was there until very, very late. It would be almost an irregularity for any school to have one or two teachers that's just not there until all hours, because there's something special that they're doing. Just like, Mr. Martin will be there until who knows when Thursday night, because he's got a band concert. We had the play that went on this weekend, Dr. Wilson in our theater department, that was there until all hours on Saturday night, was there on Sunday, had to get there very early yesterday to break down the set, because we had Nathan Robinson doing his signing for UT. I mean, just again and again and again. And the people, those are the ones who I personally know, and I know the kind of hours that they're putting in. And across the board, just constantly giving and giving and giving. Those are the teachers I know. And I don't know any that just, dial it in. So I got to say.
100%. I received you. That's
from the trenches, I'll just say, you might not understand teaching as well as you think you do.
Absolutely.
You might not. And I've had so many teachers go, well, what do you think now? And it's like, I've always had enormous respect and honor for teachers. But yeah, it's a lot. And a lot of it is there's so many things, there's so much paperwork involved because there's so much involvement from the federal government, from the state government. And at the core, if we could go back to the one-room schoolhouse, that kind of thing, but it's not that world anymore. And you can't compete in that world anymore. And so you can't compete if you come from a world like that anymore. It is a different place. And so we have to work in the place where we are for such a time as this. That's what we all have to constantly be reminding ourselves. What is my purpose for such a time as this? And when you honestly answer that question, I think therein you find the purpose that God put you here for.
I like your style, U-turn.
I love you too, brother. Well, we're going to pause and we're going to take a break. We're going to talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. Do you need some help in real estate? If you're going to buy or sell, you need some help at the table because it is a crazy time. It's different than it was this time last year. Interest rates went up, and so if you're coming to the table to buy, you can't buy as much house as you could have bought last year because of the interest rates. That's okay. They'll help walk you through it, and they'll help you understand the nuances of that. Got to get pre-qualified if you want to come to the table and buy, and they'll help you find the perfect home. Barry, if you're wanting to sell, he's going to help present your property perfectly so that when people are flipping through the listings, yours is going to pop off the page because they're going to see the vibrant color of the photography that he does and all the things he does to make sure your property is seen because he's a marketer. He was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years. He knows what he's doing, y'all. When he went full-time with real estate, his bride came out of a radiology background. Like so many in real estate, they did something else before they became real estate agents, but she's been at it a long time, one of the first in the area to be a senior real estate specialist. They're from Robertson County. They've been up in Cross Plains for over 20 years, so they specialize in Robertson County properties, but they also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. How do you get in contact with them? You can go to sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, B-U-Y, robertsoncounty.com. Or better yet, why don't you just pick up the phone and call them, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425. As always, please let them know U-Turn sent you. Danavyn Hylton in the house, talking with him about all things interesting to him. Got a few minutes here, my friend. How do you want to wrap this up?
Well, I will say, like you thought about it, January, I'm planning on, I'm going to definitely invite Miss Demita Utley down, but she may have to come as early as February.
Okay.
Because I want to invite down January my friend, Coach Wayne Jones.
Okay.
And he works for the city. But he's also I've known him through the youth basketball.
Right.
Parks and Recs. He's a coach for the last few years. I've been a referee. And he also has a YouTube channel called Broken Knobs. Knobs being Knobz. Broken Knobs. I'll see if I can put that on the comments as well.
Okay.
And he interviews a lot of Springfield's residents that may not be here, may not live in Springfield anymore, or they do, but they have very unique stories to the Springfield community. And it's all positive, but I think I want to make sure we highlight him and the work he's
that'd
doing.
Be wonderful.
To come on in.
Yeah.
He has a great message as well. So I think we're going to go ahead and have Coach Wayne Jones on the show in February, and then
January, and then we'll have Demita in
February.
That'd be great. Yes. Oh, absolutely. If you've already got plans, I would just love to revisit with her because she's somebody we need to really kind of touch base with. I think about every 6 months, just to say what you got. What you got on deck?
Appreciate that, U-Turn.
Because she's constantly got something.
Yes.
I think I saw her, and it was across the parking lot, and I think I saw her out in front of Walmart or something, doing something, just, sharing the message. And I did not have time to stop and talk to her because I was just already late. And I thought, I think that's Demita. But it was from a distance, And so just am so impressed with her. so impressed with her and the work she's doing. So impressed with you, as always.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you for being a part of this. And as we step into 2023, have a wonderful Christmas and a happy New Year.
Receive you as well.
And everybody, don't forget, too, as we're on the way out, let's not forget that you've got an opportunity to go and drive through our Winter Wonderland till the 23rd. It's open from 5:30 to 9 at Travis Price Park. You can go see those wonderful Christmas lights. And again, that's through the 23rd from 5:30 to 9. But weather permitting, this weekend, you can walk through. They didn't get to do the walkthrough on Saturday. They did it Friday night, and it was fabulous. But they've got walkthroughs this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. Santa's going to be out there. They're going to have a free movie. It'll be Elf playing on the big screen. And they want to encourage you to bring something for somebody. Come out and bring a new coat, hat, gloves. They want you to stuff the sleigh. Now, if you're walking through, there's going to be somebody that can get it from the car window as you drive through. But come out and be a part of our Winter Wonderland. We're going to continue to talk about and also pick up this holiday experience guide. Shop local, folks. These wonderful maps are all over town. Shop local. Grab this and go and see where you can buy your Christmas gifts. I was able to do that the other night when I took my horse and carriage ride and was able to keep my money right here. And so do it, guys. Appreciate you, brother.
Likewise.
God bless you. God
too.
bless you all for joining us. Tomorrow we'll have our visit. Like I said, we moved Dr. Chris Cosby to Wednesday. Looking forward to visiting with him, our director of schools. And pray for us this morning as we do something very special at Greenbrier High School as we bring awareness of drug addiction to the students and reminding them that they're not alone. And remembering some of those who have lost that battle. So pray for us that all that goes well, and for my Althea that she just has the words that God wants coming out of her mouth. Thank you, guys. God bless you. This is 1100 WSGI.